Hi crafters, thank you so much for stopping by. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you the card that I created for Craft Roulette episode number 288. But before I do that, I want to tell you a funny story. So it is Thursday today, so I am very thankful that I have the extended submission. But all I did this morning was I came downstairs where my laundry room is and my craft room is to put in a load of laundry. And then I thought, well, I might as well dry the towels so that I can fold them so that I'll be ready when my load gets done. And so I thought, you know what? Well, while I'm spinning my towels real quick, I'm just going to sit down and start figuring out what I'm going to make for this card. Because I'm like, okay, it's like 11:30 on Thursday and I haven't even begun. And I thought, oh, great. So I sat down and I went over to my papers first, and I figured that I had to worry about the colors. Well, not worry. I had to think about the colors of which were on the ground. And what I wanted to do for my colors was right now on the ground is tons of leaves at my house. I have already started picking them up, and then you go out, wake up the next day, and there's a ton more. And I just get discouraged because I feel like it's a never-ending chore in the fall to pick up leaves. And I thought, well, that's going to be my on the ground as far as colors go. So I went over to my fall papers and I picked out this one right here because I thought, you know what? This is just gorgeous paper. And I have some leaves that kind of have like a purplish, I don't know, tone to it. And I noticed the tree across the street has that same color. Mine are more like a Cajun craze with kind of like a mulberry, but the one across the street has a little bit more purplish colors to it. And so I thought this is going to be the perfect paper. So this paper is called Blackberry Beauty, and it's a specialty paper. And I said I'm just going to use this one, and I'm going to use the back of it. And so I says, okay, that's that. And so I just sat down and started designing. And I had that card finished like within probably half hour, 45 minutes maybe. I don't know. I didn't time it. But it came together so quickly. And I thought to myself, you know, after Craft Roulette and I look at the parameters, I start thinking, what am I going to do? And I start racking my brain, and I realized this morning that I did nothing of the ideas that I thought I was going to do as far as cards were concerned. And so I decided from now on, I am not going to overthink it. I'm not going to, after I look at Craft Roulette on Friday nights, I'm just going to write down the parameters and not start thinking about it and going through all these ideas and stuff. You know, I'm going to have to kind of think about it, but I'm not going to waste a bunch of time of trying to look at Pinterest and, you know, looking up definitions. And I may have to do that once in a while. But I just realized that when I came down here this morning, how quickly I put this card together with very little thought and very little design. It didn't even come out the way I was planning to do it. So that is one thing that I'm going to do from now on, is I'm not going to overthink this. I'm just going to come to my craft room and start designing. And I realize that that's probably how those people that submit cards the same night of the show, how they do it. They just start creating. They don't overthink it, and they just come up with a card. And so that's going to be my new goal is to not waste a bunch of brain power trying to decide what I'm going to create. Because I really like the way this card came out today. with very little thought process going into it. So let's just pull in the card and we'll go through the parameters, and then we'll see how I did with meeting those parameters. Okay, so we already talked about the paper that I used, but I also pulled in this distressed, it's called Distressed Gold Specialty Paper. And I really like that, and so that's because my paper had gold in it. And so I wanted to punch out these leaves and this acorn with that distressed gold. And those punches are right here, and they were bundled with this beautiful autumn. And I did pull that in too because that's where I got my sentiment from, right here. My heart is grateful for you. So, but then it was a challenge to try to find a die that was going to fit around this. I didn't want to do a circle because it was going to have to be a really big circle, right? But I thought, no, I'm going to keep looking through my dies. And I finally came across this one right here called Pretty Pillow Box. And so I was able to use this die right here to die cut out that sentiment. My heart is grateful for you. And I went ahead and also die cut it out in the distressed gold paper that I had. And then I cut it in half, and then I just kind of did that for a little gold matting behind my sentiment there. But then I knew I wanted a heart there. My heart is grateful for you. So I pulled in all my little heart punches that I had and punched them out. And then I determined that I really liked that shape there. I felt that it was perfect. So that's the one I did. And my cardstock that I'm using is cinnamon cider for my card base. And I'm also doing that behind in this square right here. And then also for this square there. And I also pulled in the back of this paper, and I did some squares right underneath that rich razzleberry. And so basically that is what I am calling my random blocks. So these are what I'm considering blocks on my card. And so I have, let's see, I have 3 layers of squares. And then, like I said, I just punched those out with a distressed gold. And what I did was I put the designer paper and the first block or square, and I glued that together, and I glued it down flat. But then this rich razzleberry with the gold leaves and acorn, I popped it up. Now here was the funny thing, was I popped this one up, and then I was popping these 2 up, and they were like at a different height. And it was funny because I thought that the dimensionals that come in the paper pumpkin kits were the same as the regular dimensionals. But if you look at it, they're a little thicker. But then I kind of ran out of this one, and I wanted to use some of my black ones. So I pulled them in. Well, look at the difference. Those are even thinner than the regular dimensionals. So I did not know that. I kind of learned that the hard way. And then here are the mini ones. So they're more the size. They're closer to the size, I can't tell. Yeah, they're closer to the size of the regular dimensionals. I did not realize that the black ones were that much thinner than the regular white ones. So thought I'd share that with you in case you didn't know about it. So I think, let's see, what else do I need to talk about? So we've got the project had to be a celebration card. Well, I wanted to celebrate my BSF leader. And if you don't know what BSF is, BSF is. It is Bible Study Fellowship. And I like to study that every year. And this year has been great so far. But I got to tell you, I haven't done BSF every year, but I've done it several times. And the part that I've never been really excited about was the group time. And last year, I found an online group through BSF International that I am doing my study with. And I love my group leader. Last year was the first time that I attended every meeting, and there's like 30 weeks of BSF, and I never missed a meeting group. But it's probably because it's also on Zoom, and it's at 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I just hop out of bed, run a comb through my hair, and get my coffee, and I sit in front of the computer screen. But, so I don't have to worry about jumping in the shower and driving somewhere. But I love my group leader, and I'm still in that same group again this year. And so I wanted to make this celebration card to celebrate her. That's why I said my heart is grateful for you, because she's just an amazing group leader, the best one that I've ever had. And she's such an inspiration. She just had a double knee replacement last Thursday, that was the time she had to miss our group meeting because she was in surgery. But yet she was leading it this morning. And so she's such an inspiration, and I just love her. So that's where this card's going. It's going to her because she, like I said, I am so grateful for her. So that's going to take care of my project celebration card. The colors on the ground, and I'm pulling colors from leaves that are currently on my ground. And then the element has to be goes well together. Well, I got to tell you, a grateful heart goes well together. And I know that from experience, because sometimes I don't have such a grateful heart, and that seems to be what causes a lot of my anxiety issues. And so I am working on that part in my life. But the other thing that goes well together is this sentiment inside, which says golden leaves, chilly air, autumn beauty everywhere. So that is so true, because when the leaves start falling, there is a chill in the air, and it is beautiful, even though it causes me a lot of work. So the leaves and the chilly air go well together. I'm not so excited about it because I know it's going to get chillier, but that is part of this season. So that's what I did for goes well together. And then the random of block or blocks, well, we already covered that with my squares there. So, and that sentiment, I don't know if I told you, did I tell you that the golden leaves comes from the autumn goodness? So that sentiment for the inside came from that set. And I think I've covered everything. So there we go. There is my card for Craft Roulette episode number 288, where I was able to pull it off in a short period of time. And I love the way it came out. So, lesson learned, not to overthink these cards and these parameters, and just dig in, and you'll be amazed how quickly you'll get it done. So there we go. There it is. So I hope you enjoyed this card in this video. And if you did, you can show me your joy by giving it a thumbs up. Okay, well, until my next video, have fun crafting, everyone. And remember, choose joy, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.